Welcome to AAU Teen Talk TV. You're watching AAU Conversations with Verdell Jones, and I'm your host, Verdell Jones. This show is dedicated to providing you concrete, relevant, timely information. We have a great show this afternoon. We have a special guest in studio, and he's going to be talking about job tips for college students and grads. So we're really excited about that. So, in the words of Maya Angelou, when you learn, teach, and when you get, give. Welcome to Conversations with Verdell Jones.
I think I better get up.
Welcome to AAU Conversations with Verdell Jones. Before we get started with our conversation this afternoon, I would like to thank our special sponsors, Mr. and Mrs. Roger and Shavonna Johnson. They are the founders of the Whitney E. Johnson Foundation, which is a not-for-profit organization. They're also the executive producers of AAU Teen Talk and AAU Teen Talk TV and AAU Teen Talk Radio. And they are also the founders or CEO and CFO of the AAU Youth Magazine. Now, AAU stands for All About Us, and that's what we're about here at AAU Teen Talk TV. For more information, you can go to our website, aaum.com. So, I just want to get started with our conversation this afternoon. One of the things that I think is really important and that should be stressed is when our students go to college, they should be prepared for actual employment. So we have a special guest in our studio today that's going to kind of talk about how students can get jobs, not only in, after they graduate from college, but when they're in college. Internships are so important, and we're going to talk about the importance of internships. I hope we get to that discussion. My children, they were able to do some internships while they were still in high school, and I think that really benefited them once they got into college and they were used to a work environment and they knew how to network, and we're going to be talking about network in our next segment, so you got to stay tuned for that as well. So I'd like to introduce our guests. We have James Jadot here. He is a human resources specialist. He is also the owner of Career Peer Consultant, so we are so excited to have him here. I also just want to say on a personal note, he is a former student of the district that I'm affiliated with, so we're so proud of the work that you're doing, helping, your peers to get jobs. And, I was thinking as I was coming over here this afternoon that it's nice to have this young energy in our studio, someone who, can relate to our youth and help them find the opportunities that are best for them. So, I know you're dedicated to helping students and job seekers gain that competitive edge. So that's what we're going to talk about this afternoon. So give us some, welcome.
Thank you, Verdell. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Good. So tell us a little bit about your career journey. Like, how did you get into starting your own business and becoming a human resources specialist? Like, just give us a little overview so our viewers kind of understand what you're about.
Verdell, great question. My simple answer to that is a strategy. I put in place a strategy from day one, graduating from my high school and going on to the university I did. Mm-hmm. Took myself from New York to North Carolina. Small community college, great university, High Point University. And from day one of being in college, I set in place a strategy. I wanted to be in human resources. My freshman year, I did an internship with the company I now work for.
Okay.
And strategically placed myself for semester one, year two, same company, year three.
Wow.
Year four, graduated and had a full-time job waiting for me across
Absolutely. And look, I have a question because you said you knew you wanted to get into human resources. Most students at 18 years old don't even know what human resources actually is. So what was that motivation for you to get into that field?
So when I interact with clients of high school and college students, I tell them to really absorb what their professors in college have to offer them.
Right.
At the time, my freshman year, I was taking a class, a human resource class. I had no idea what human resources was.
Right. You were a business major?
Business
Okay,
major.
right.
Now, the content was absolutely phenomenal. And the way that the teacher expressed the information was
Okay.
really, really keen to helping me decide that human resources was a good option.
Huh.
Now, I tested the water my first year. I
Right.
did the internship my first year, and I said, this is great.
Wow.
The projects that they gave me from day one really inspired me to go back and back and back.
Right. That's awesome because you know what? I love what you said. Listen to your professors. Listen to what they have to offer you. When you go to college, from high school to college, and you know, at the school where you graduated high school from, the teachers are phenomenal and they do teach you or give you those opportunities. But when you're taking such specific courses in an area and they're the expert in and really like a narrow focus, you can gain so much from them. So I think that's an important tip for our students to kind of hold on to. Listen to what your professors are saying, absorb that information. That's great advice. So that leads me to, why did you want to start your own business, Career Peer Consultants?
Now, ever since I've been a little kid, entrepreneurship has been something that I've always wanted to do and always wanted to pursue. Now, I love my full-time job, absolutely love it. Wake up in the morning inspired. But to push
great.
the needle a little further, to inspire others, to inspire a great audience, I have this passion for helping others and inspiring others at the same time. Now, in order to inspire students and parents at the same time, I found this opportunity to educate them on
Right.
preparing for careers after college.
Exactly. So it's important. We talked about high school and getting internships. I shared information about, our own children and how we encourage them to do internships in high school. I believe you did an internship in high school as well. At the college level, what are some career services that students really should look towards to help them get the internship, get the job, or just the career direction that they need? What are some things that you can kind of recommend that they do?
Excellent question, Vidal. I would take it a step back, and when you started evaluating which college is the best choice or best option for you, I would look at the career services at each individual university.
Right.
What are the services that they're really offering? How far will those services go on beyond your graduation, right? So once you select a university, take advantage of those career services.
Right.
These professors, these professionals are there for a particular reason, and they're to help you find a job.
Right.
In addition to that, when career services hold career fairs
Yeah.
and career expos along those lines, take advantage of those. When you meet a recruiter, it's not solely for that one position at the end of the year or an internship. You're establishing a network.
Right.
That's very important.
Yeah.
That's very important.
And we're going to be talking about
Of course.
networking, in our second segment, which is so important.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so vital in this whole process. What are some specific career services that you should look at from a college, besides the career fairs? And you said how they can help you beyond. So what is that? First, what are some other, what are the career services? But then what does it mean when you say beyond, your graduation?
Excellent. So what I mean by career services and taking advantage of it, resume building.
Okay.
Sitting down on one-on-one interview skills. Make sure these universities have those options. In addition to that, what other options? Do they have externships? Do they
Right.
pair you up with a company that will do an internship within the local area of your university? What
Right.
kind of relationship do they have with other employers? That's huge.
Right,
That's something
right,
that
right.
you really should take advantage of if you're a college student.
Right. With college, and talking to parents and students, they want to get that education. That's important. You get that. But really, in my opinion, the job is what we're looking for. We have
It's
to
the
be
end goal.
able, it's the end goal, exactly. So I think, in talking to parents and students, one of the things that is important is when they do look at colleges, visiting the Career Service Center. A lot of people don't.
You're right. You're right.
And they don't know what a college actually has to offer. So I think that is definitely an important tip.
You're right.
And just going there on a college visit, would you recommend that a student actually go to the Career Service Center
course.
and just, talk to someone and
Of course.
Okay.
You want to know the story beyond. So to your point before in your questioning, what kind of services would a college offer after you
Right,
graduate,
yes,
right?
right.
With that being said, if I graduate and I don't have a job, can I go back to career services and
Right.
regain all or resharpen all those
Right.
tools, right? Or really take advantage of them.
Right, exactly.
Some schools, you graduate
You're
and that's
done.
it. You're done. Whereas some schools will continue to offer
Right.
some sort of benefit to you.
Yeah.
Whether you could speak to a counselor or you could set up time one-on-one to come back to campus.
Right.
Those are the things you want to take advantage
Yeah,
of.
it's important.
I would definitely recommend that students, in addition to visiting the campus, the aesthetics and all of that,
Right.
and making sure that it's a good fit for them academically, make sure it's a great fit for the career services as well.
Right.
Very, very important.
Very important. I know some colleges also offer like websites or where you can go on and log on to, as a graduate and log on to see job opportunities that might be available. And, I know that's something with our son. He did that too. They had a large network. And you know what the interesting thing is, thinking about it, that's one of the reasons why he went to the college that he went to, because of that network that the college could offer in the field that he was interested in. And that's important too. He went to, just to plug Emerson College, he went there and he majored in film. And they have a wide network of companies and organizations that work with them because of the reputation of the school.
Excellent.
And he was able to get a job, and a lot of his friends the same type of thing, and they do offer that service as well.
It's a perfect trajectory.
Exactly. It really works. And I think, so that's another thing that students should look at and parents should look at when they're applying to colleges. What kind of networks do these colleges have? What affiliations do they have with certain companies that can help them?
In addition to, what are their alumni doing?
Right.
What are their alumni
Right.
doing? That's great.
Exactly. And these are things that people may not think of. So that's great. So now we're going to get more into like some of the things individuals need to do to make sure that they're presenting the best self. You had mentioned in one of your articles about Google and what is being said out there, about you on the internet, on the World Wide Web. So why is it important to, have an online presence that is positive, and how do students go about making sure that that's the case?
Excellent. So, your online presence is just as important as your credit score is when you're looking for a mortgage.
Right.
It's something that's out there. It's in the face of recruiters, other professors, peers. And it's something that wasn't there 10 years, 15 years ago.
Right, absolutely.
Right? So what I educate, and I try to stress this to students as much as possible, be conscious of the information that you put out there about yourself.
Yeah.
Whether it's via Twitter, Instagram, our pictures,
Snapchat.
Snapchat, everything,
Right.
everything along those lines. These social media tools can be used as such a benefit,
Right.
but at the same time, we need to be very cautious on what we're posting out there. So my best practice is to simply Google your name. If you find information about there that a recruiter shouldn't see,
Right.
then you should probably work your way towards removing that stuff, right?
Right.
Or finding a way to remove
Right.
those items. Now, in addition to that, some people say simply, all right, I have my permission set so no one can see anything. But you kind of disadvantage yourself because you have so much content that you can put out there for yourself. If you want to be a fashion consultant,
Right.
it's something I always say, post about it, blog about it. Put
Right.
your Twitter feed to match those of other consultants out there.
Right.
So that you're really putting your best face forward. So social media can be very powerful, but it
Yes.
could also be very dangerous.
Right, it could be a detriment in
Oh,
some
yeah.
instances. So we're talking about college students and recent college graduates. At what point should they really be aware of that? Because you're in high school, you do silly
yeah.
things in high school. So at what point? I noticed that a lot of students will, as they're applying to college, they'll try to clean it up. So at
Yeah,
what
exactly.
point should students really be concerned with that, or is that something they should always be thinking about from initially going on to social media?
That's great. It comes down to your brand. From day one, you should know that this is my brand,
Right.
and this is what I want other people to think about me if they happen
Yeah.
to look me up on social media. So it really starts from day one. I would stress this to high school students. Sometimes it doesn't click as well
Right.
until they really graduate from high school and go off into college.
Exactly.
But then you need to re-engage them as soon as they come back on campus or college when they start from day one freshman year. Engage them about how important it is to have a clean online presence.
Right. And do companies look at this? Do they really take the time? Because we always ask college admissions reps, do you look at social media for students? And a lot of times what we hear is, we look when there's a question, we have a question in our mind about a student, or we look when we can't make a decision about a student. So they tell us, and granted, not all colleges have the resources to be able to do this, but a lot of them more and more are saying they use it as maybe, a student is teetering on getting in or not. They will, look at this. Do employers do the same thing?
Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm not going to say that an employer would potentially make a hiring decision based off
Right,
on it. But
yeah.
if they're teetering in that
Right.
sense, if that information, if I'm a recruiter and I'm looking at a candidate who has all this stuff
Right.
posted about them partying and things
Right.
along those lines, do I want this candidate to really be an employee of my company?
Right,
Or what else is he or she going to say about my company
Right.
moving forward?
Yeah.
So it's really taken in that perspective.
Yeah.
So it's very, very important
It's very
when
important.
looking for
Yeah,
for
that's
jobs.
what the old saying is: if your grandmother can't see what's on your social media, then it shouldn't be there.
You're right. You're right. Of course.
So let's just take just a little step back. I want to talk about the importance of internships. We did talk about it. And from your own experience, you started, as a freshman, and then all 4 years you did your internship, and you ended up with a full-time job.
Yeah.
So that right there shows the importance of internships. How can students balance that, though? So you're a college student, you have academics, you have activities, you have a lot of things going on in your life. How can you, one, find an internship? And the second is, how can you manage all of that? How does a student go about doing that?
So it's not uncommon to get bombarded with different activities and things,
Right.
especially if you go away to college.
Right.
If you're on campus 24 hours a day,
Mm-hmm.
it's very easy to become overwhelmed with everything going on.
Absolutely.
My advice to students is to really set a strategy.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly is my end goal? What do I need in my end goal? If I want to be a human resources professional when I graduate college, what are the things or knowledge, skills, and ability I'm going to need to pursue that job when I
Right.
graduate? So when I know that, I'm able to better align the projects and activities that I do from day one as a freshman.
Right.
So maybe I want to be part of the HR club on campus,
Right.
if they have
If
one.
they have one.
Or the business society,
Yes,
right?
right.
Or maybe I want to join my local professional human resources organization in my community. Maybe things along those lines, and build a network around that.
Right.
So really setting a strategy before getting engaged and taking on too much.
Too much, right?
Too much.
Because a lot of students, do that. But
course.
what I'm hearing you saying is be involved,
Yeah.
but have a targeted,
Of course.
targeted
Approach
involvement,
to being-
right?
to
Yeah,
being involved.
surround yourself with those industries that could potentially be beneficial to you.
Now,
Yeah.
the importance of internships, to bring that a step further, when you get involved and surround yourself with all these individuals that are currently doing it
Right.
or are passionate about pursuing that specific goal, you also put the frame in mind that this is exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
Now, if you do that on the other hand and you don't like it,
Right.
well, you put yourself in a better position to say,
Absolutely.
okay, well, let's pivot from here and make adjustments and, re-navigate.
Let me ask you a question. Going back to the internship, what should a student be doing at their internship besides, learning about whatever the career or job might be? What should they do to set themselves apart from the intern next to them? What can they do without being obnoxious?
Of course, without being obnoxious.
Right.
Take advantage of projects. Right?
Okay.
It's an ever-changing job market, and every day there should be new opportunities.
Right.
If they aren't given to you, seek them.
Create them.
Exactly.
Right.
If another team next to you happens to be working on a project, you could politely ask your manager, "Hey, can I devote 15 to 20 minutes out of my time to work on this project, or a couple hours out of the day to devote to this project?" I was very fortunate enough. My manager, when I did my first year internship, said, "James, I'm going to split your summer in half. You'll work on compensation one side, and then
Okay.
human resources and equal employment opportunities on the other side."
Okay.
Right? So really splitting up that time and getting yourself as much breadth and depth knowledge.
Right, right. And putting yourself out
Of
there.
course, of course.
And, a lot of students feel uncomfortable with doing that because they feel that they are being too aggressive. What would you say to a student who kind of feels that way about doing those, speaking up, so to speak?
Yeah. Definitely get your foot out there. Speak up as much as you are able to at a respectable level, of course.
Right.
But get your name out there. Establish who you are. Make a name known for yourself, because at the end of the summer, your internship is over.
Right.
You want them to look around in January and say, "Hey, James did an excellent job on that
Exactly.
project.
Right.
I hope he's coming back this summer.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to. It's a balance. It really is a balance. But I think, when these individuals have the younger students or young professionals coming in, we're eager. We're eager to teach them. How to do things. And I think students, they shouldn't be afraid of speaking
Shouldn't
up
be
and trying
at
to
all.
be engaged. So let's talk about making standing out. We talked about the internship and how you stand out, but before you do all of that, there's some steps that you have to take. There's a resume, there's the interview, there's the cover letter. So let's talk a little bit about the resume and how I get inundated with a lot of resumes. If we have a job opening, I can't even tell you how many resumes for one job. How does someone set themselves apart on the resume? And then after that, I want to talk a little bit about some resume tips.
So the best way to set yourself apart from establishing a resume is keep it clean, keep it concise. Really use your margins and your borders to your advantage. Countless amount of resumes that I've seen throughout my career, my short career, my full-time job, and all throughout college, I would help students with their resumes and things
Okay.
along those lines. But I've seen my fair share of
Right.
disorganized resumes and things along those lines. But
Right.
what it comes down to is do it more than a template. Don't simply go to a template, type in your information.
Right.
And
It's so obvious.
of course. It is obvious, especially when you have an objective to get a job, right? You really want to be very specific
Right.
to the organization you're applying to. So do a little bit more research. Your resume is just as good as your key to get you into the door. That's really what it serves for. Beyond
Right.
that, it's up to you to really present yourself
Right,
in
to
that
present
manner.
yourself, exactly. So keep it clean, use the margins consciously, and don't use a template. So, strictly, that template. And what about like the length of the resume? You always say, you always hear if you're a new to the profession, it should only be one page. Does that hold true?
Personally, I like to see one page. And I've
Okay.
seen individuals with 15 plus years account for all of their accolades and their job experience in one
In
page.
one page,
I
wow.
have seen it.
Okay.
So I know it's possible. Here's what sets your resume apart from the individual that has 3 or 4 pages on
Right.
their application. Be very concise to the position you're applying to.
Okay.
Identify it as relevant experience.
Right.
Read the job description very
Yes.
closely. And look for keywords in the job description that you can
Right.
plug and play and put into your resume. Now, don't copy and paste the job description into your resume.
Right.
But as you go down the job description, really evaluate, what have I done in my career
That speaks to that.
that speaks to that?
Yeah. So that's like a functional resume. I don't know if they call that still
Oh, yeah.
a functional resume. So more so not a chronological type of resume, but more of a related experiences.
Correct.
And that kind of, because there's a lot of situations where you might not have the exact experience in the form that job description has, but or in the same industry, but you may have done that type
Correct.
of work before,
course, of
right?
course.
Okay. So that's the resume. Now, what about the cover letter?
Oh, the cover letter.
And some tips for the cover letter. And in my experience, I have seen some cover letters that read like a novel, which they shouldn't. And I've seen so many different types of cover letters. Are you, a couple of things, tips, but when you're looking at a cover letter, is it important that the structure of the cover letter be a certain way? I'm a former business teacher, so I'm a stickler for that. Is that something that an employer actually looks at?
So where we are, especially with the Fortune 500 companies that are reviewing applications on a daily basis, what we have is our applicant tracking system, or our ATS. Yes.
Okay.
So when you upload a cover letter,
Right.
now it's actually just a copy and paste into
Got it.
Plain text.
Oh, okay.
Now,
So it doesn't really matter.
it doesn't really matter the formatting. However, if there's an opportunity to upload a PDF,
Okay.
then formatting is very important.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
One things that you could do to set yourself apart, as you mentioned, you've read longs that were as long as a novel. I could imagine. One of the things, keep it short, keep it concise.
Right.
Tailor that cover letter to sell you for that specific job.
Okay.
Don't tell me that you're looking for an open-ended job and an open-ended company.
Be specific.
Be very specific.
All right, we only have a couple minutes left.
Okay.
One of the things, we have 2 minutes left. So one of the things that I want to get to really quick is interview. Just 2 interview tips that you can give people.
Of course. Be on time, be concise, be polite, be respectful. Be very specific in your answers. If you don't understand something that the interviewer is asking, simply ask.
Okay.
We're humans. We're frank.
That's
you
right.
know, be very genuine about it and be able to digest the question and answer it. And try to put your recruiter hat on and really ask yourself, what's a recruiter really looking for when it comes to this question? Are they trying to assess my accountability? Are they looking for my customer service skills?
Right.
What do they really need from me to answer this question?
Okay, well, I want to thank you for being
Well, it's
here
been a
this
pleasure.
afternoon. And we mentioned that you have your own business. It's called Career Peer Consultant. How can people reach out to you, and get information about the services that you provide?
So to reach out to me, reach out to careerpeerconsultant.com. Simply email james.jadot@careerpeerconsultant.com. Follow on Twitter, multiple forums to contact me.
Awesome, awesome. So again, we want to thank James for coming here this afternoon. A lot of great information about tips for the college student. Thank you for watching AAU Conversations with Verdell Jones. And remember, in the words of Maya Angelou, when you learn, teach, and when you get, give. Thank you.
Stretching under sedation or manipulation under anesthesia is a very gentle, very precise procedure to very slowly release any scar tissue that is formed as a result of a traumatic injury. Many people ask, how does this work? Will I get hurt? Will you stretch me too far? We only stretch the body part to its normal range of motion. After completing the post-MUA rehabilitation program, it's very common that our patients say to us, hey, I can play ball with my kid again. Hey, I can bowl again. Hey, I can enjoy hiking again. This is what makes it rewarding to us as practitioners.
Welcome to the Rehab Center located at 2025 Brentwood Road in Brentwood, New York. At the center, we offer chiropractic services, acupuncture, and physical therapy. We take most major medical, no-fault, and workers' comp insurance. If you need these types of services, contact the offices at 631-234-4949. That's 631-234-4949.
Galaxy Luxury Coach is a full-service limousine and party bus company. Family-owned and operated, we are an industry leader with over 25 years of experience in providing best-in-class luxury transportation for your special event. Whether it's your precious wedding day, an all-day wine tour out east, your high school prom, that special birthday, or just an amazing night on the town, our professional chauffeurs stand ready to ensure your special event is truly special. Galaxy Luxury Coach has one of the largest and modern party bus fleets in the New York area. Our party buses are simply nightclubs on wheels. Concert sound systems, light shows, lasers and strobes, multicolor LED lighting brilliantly lights your party bus inside and out. For corporate and more laid-back events, we will cater to your specific needs and requests. What sets Galaxy aside from all others in the luxury transportation industry is our attention to detail in customizing our services to your special event. At Galaxy, it's all about you and your guests. Galaxy customers return time and time again because they know they can trust Galaxy to help deliver those lifetime memorable moments. Step aboard and let your Galaxy experience begin.
Welcome to AAU Teen Talk TV. You're watching AAU Conversations with Verdell Jones, and I'm your host, Verdell Jones. This show is dedicated to providing you relevant, timely, concrete information. We have a great show for you this afternoon. We're going to talk about the importance of networking. I mean, we're going to talk about that in a moment. But remember, in the words of Maya Angelou, when you learn, teach, and when you get, give. Welcome to Conversations with Verdell Jones.
I think I better get up. Time keeps on slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. So I wanna fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, make my spirit carry me. I wanna fly.
Welcome to Conversations with Verdell Jones. Before we get started with our show, I would like to thank our wonderful sponsors, Mr. and Mrs. Roger and Shavonna Johnson. They are the founders of the Whitney E. Johnson Foundation, which is a not-for-profit organization. And they're also the executive producers of AAU Teen Talk TV and AAU Teen Talk Radio. They are also the CEO and CFO of AAU Youth Magazine. AAU stands for All About Us, and that's what we're about here at AAU Teen Talk TV. So for more information about AAU, you can visit our website, aaum.com. So as I said, we have a great show this afternoon. We're going to be talking about the importance of networking. And to talk about networking, we have a special guest here who is the expert in this area. And I just want to tell you a little bit about networking and from my personal experience, how networking is so important for our children. They're going on with their careers, and they were able to get so many opportunities based on the people that we know, the people that they know, the people that we know who know someone else. So they were able to really see how networking kind of works in action. And I think that it's important for people to realize the importance of it when they want to try to find the career or look for opportunities that will benefit them and someone else. So again, we have a perfect guest here that's joining us via Skype. And I want to welcome Elena G. Levine. She is the author of Networking for Nerds, Find Access, and Land Hidden Game-Changing Career Opportunities. And she says that the secret to success might just lie in who you know and who you can get to know. So we are so excited to have Elena here. She was on my radio show a couple weeks ago, and I was so excited about the information that she was sharing that I wanted to have her here on our TV show. So Elena, welcome.
Thank you so much, Verdell. I'm thrilled to be back, and this is the power of networking. We networked, we talked, learned how we could potentially help each other.
That's
and
right.
We're back at it again. I
Absolutely. Absolutely. And right, it's in action. So here, living examples. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you become an expert in this field? And I know you have a lot of other things going on. So tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I am a nerd. I'm definitely a nerd. I love math and science, but I'm also an expanded nerd. I have a diverse background, and I'm interested in performing arts. I'm a comedian in addition to being an entrepreneur and a career consultant and a writer. And I've been on performing arts stages since I was very, very small. And I've always ran in my mind a number of different career tracks. I loved science and math. I loved the performing arts, and I loved writing and other types of communications.
Right.
And my whole life, my mom insisted that I network. And she may not have said, Elena, you need to network,
Right.
but she was always introducing me to people. And she was always starting conversations with people in front of me or doing it for me so that I could start talking to them.
Right.
And I began to learn the importance of this. And so as a student, I naturally, I'm an extrovert. I'm a crazy extrovert, and I'm an A-type person, and I like to talk to people. It's fun for me to engage other people in conversation about what it is that they enjoy most and what their craft is. And so I just naturally did this through my college years, not realizing that there was a term for it, which is networking. But when I graduated and I started my career, I had a degree in mathematics and another in anthropology, and I was in science communications, and then I was working for the dean of the College of Science at the University of Arizona.
Right.
And my job was to get my students jobs in industry. And these were science students who were getting master's degrees. And they were science students just like me. They did not get any business or networking education as part of their scientific curriculum. I mean, nowhere in any of my algebra or calculus classes did a single professor ever say to me, you have to network if you want to get a job in math or anywhere else. And so, but since I was teaching these students how to get jobs and how to get internships and how to work and be successful in industry, I began to realize that they needed to network, and I needed to teach them this. I needed to teach them what networking was, why it was something that was honorable and something mutually beneficial for you and the other party, and how it can help you and the other party be successful. And that's how I started doing this more formally, doing workshops and career consulting to help people with networking. And through my own networking, I was able to land a book contract to write a book about networking, which I did, which is called Networking for Nerds, as you pointed out. And even the foreword of that book which is written by Nobel laureate Brian Schmidt. He's a physicist who has a Nobel Prize. Even finding him and connecting with him was through networking.
Right, exactly. So the reason you wrote this, you wrote your book was out of a need. You saw that, these students who were in the sciences and the math really didn't get that experience. So hence the name Networking for Nerds, which is great. And you know what? And looking through it, I mean, and based on our conversation a couple weeks ago, it's for everyone. It's for all, for all people. But I think with when you're talking about the nerd population, sometimes they might not have the skills necessary to be able to network.
Well, the skills, and also for now, I'm so glad you said it is for everybody, because Networking for Nerds, the book is for everybody. You don't have to be a nerd. Non-nerds are welcome. And the reason I said Networking for Nerds, and the reason why I really wanted to make sure that I was communicating this important topic, was because, as you pointed out, you tend not to get the networking expertise or knowledge or the understanding that it's valuable to network in the STEM fields, as opposed to the business students who learn how to network on day one of business school. And so to be able to share with people that is important, and as you pointed out when you introduced me, and I appreciate that it's not just what you know, it's what people know about you, and it's who you know that can get you access to hidden opportunities or opportunities to even create your own opportunities, which are indeed hidden as well. And so this is very exciting for anybody that they can take advantage of and really leverage who they know and speak with more people so that they can create their own opportunities for success.
Definitely. So what exactly is networking? Because I think a lot of people may have a different understanding of what it actually is. Can you kind of clarify that for individuals, what it is and what it is not?
Yeah, and I think you're going to find this hilarious because a lot of people think that networking is schmoozing, or it's me trying to extract something from your brain. I'm mining your brain for a job, or I'm trying to get something from you, and it's not that at all. This is why networking is so honorable. Networking is not me trying to sell a used car to you. Networking is me trying to find out what problems you need to have solved and how I might be able to solve them with you and for you. In other words, it's about not getting, but giving. And something like your quote from Maya Angelou at the very beginning of your show, it's exactly the same thing. What can I give to you? What can I offer to you? How can I contribute value to your team? And so networking, if you want to give it a definition, networking is a spectrum of activities that begins with that first point of contact. It aims for a win-win relationship, a partnership that you build together over the course of years, possibly, in which we're exchanging value in myriad ways and in myriad correspondence. And it ends only when one or both of us drop dead. That's it. And it's so honorable because it's me trying to find out how I can help you. What can I do to assist you? And in doing so, we're building this mutually beneficial alliance that will last us a lifetime.
Absolutely. And you know what, when we were talking a few weeks ago, we were talking about the saying 6 degrees of separation. And we realized in our conversation that the world is so small today that it really isn't even 6, I don't think, anymore. There's always someone that that will know someone that can possibly you can exchange information or share opportunities with.
Exactly. You have to be very open-minded about this. I mean,
Right.
so 6 degrees of separation says that we are connected to every other person on the planet by no more than 6 degrees. So
Right.
I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows President Obama.
Right.
And I know somebody who knows President Bush, and,
Right.
and so on and so forth. And those degrees of connection are very vital to us in building our network and building our careers.
Right.
Because just like if we wanted to work for Microsoft, we would be able to look and see, well, I know somebody who knows somebody who works for Microsoft, or I know somebody who works for the Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation,
Right.
and they could potentially introduce me. So understanding that we are very, very very small in terms of our communities,
Yeah.
and our discipline and our sector and our industry is even smaller.
Absolutely.
And our job function is even smaller than that everybody knows each other.
Yes.
This can be a very empowering notion when you think about the fact that if I really want to go work for Microsoft, or if I really want to go work in human resources, or if I want to become an astronaut, there are ways for me to find the people who can pave that road for me.
Right. And in your title, in the subtitle of your book, you talk about hidden opportunities. And it's so amazing how many opportunities are actually hidden. So what does that actually, can you explain to our viewers what you mean by that when you say hidden opportunities?
Yeah, and when you think about it, I estimate that about 90% of jobs and other game-changing career opportunities are hidden. So
Wow.
90% are hidden. So what do I mean by hidden? Here's a couple of examples. Let's say I'm talking with you and I get to know you're an expert in radio, you're an expert in communications, you're an expert in consulting and business. Well, you know what, Burdell, you might be interested to know that my department is about to open a job posting that would fit all of those skills that you have. Would you be interested in applying? So I've now offered you the hidden job, told you about a job that hasn't even been advertised yet.
Right.
Or in course of networking with you, I realize, you know what, Burdell would be perfect for this job. I do have a job. I'm not even going to open the job now. I'm not even going to advertise it at all.
Right.
I'm just going to cut to the chase and invite you in for the interview because that solves my problem
Absolutely.
faster because you've become a known quantity to me.
Right.
But it's not just jobs that are hidden. And that's what I want people to really recognize, this power. Because if you see somebody walking down the hall at a conference or you're sitting next to somebody on an airplane, talking with them and engaging them in conversation could actually elucidate a hidden opportunity, which could be just to meet somebody. It could be to find out information about a different career path that you know about.
Right.
Or I might find out, again, in talking with you, I might find out that you're really brilliant in X, Y, and Z, and I might say, you know what? We don't have an opening in that job, in that realm. We don't have an opening for somebody who's an expert in radio and business. But you know what? I think you'd be really perfect for our organization. Would you like to come in and have a conversation with us about it?
Right.
And then the final piece of it is that you create it yourself. In talking with me, you realize that I could use somebody with a background in radio and business in my business to move it forward, to move it to advancement. And you say, you know what, Elena, I think I can help you. I have this background. Why don't we have a conversation? And in that case, you've created a job for yourself. But don't just limit yourself to thinking about creating jobs or looking for jobs, because any opportunity can lead to a job for you and another party.
Right.
And I have met people just on airplanes, which has led to amazing conversations. It led to new ideas that moved my career in different directions that I didn't even realize existed. And it's led to actual physical jobs where I got paid to do something that I love.
That you love, right? That is definitely a win-win. I mean, you can't beat that. So, so a lot of individuals, I think, are nervous or a little apprehensive about making that connection. So I just have like a situational question. Let's say you're at at a dinner party. It's not really, it might not be a networking event, or it might be a networking event. But hopefully you would know if it's a networking event or not. But even if it's not an actual, formal event, how do you go about making that move, opening up that dialogue and that conversation? What do you do if you're introverted type of person?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Burdell, and the way you asked it is actually really good because any opportunity can be made into a networking opportunity.
Right.
They don't say this is a networking mixer.
That's right.
If Dr. God or Ms. Senior Entrepreneur is at the party, this is your chance to shine and really talk to them. But yeah, like if I'm an introvert or if I'm shy or if I'm just not used to going to mixers or parties or talking to somebody on an airplane, how do I begin? And I used to think that it would be helpful to have an opening line, and I still recommend that for people who are new to this, that you can have an opening line. And the opening line can be something related to the ecosystem that you're physically in right now, right?
Okay.
Like on an airplane, I often will turn to the guy next to me and I'll say, where are you headed today? That's
Right.
my opening
Easy.
line,
Right.
right? And if he tells me, I'm headed to, Miami, then I'll say, oh, wow, that's so great. What are you doing? What are you going there for? Are
Right.
you looking to enjoy the mood, the food, the music? And we have a really great conversation. At a mixer, I might say, if for an opening line, I might say, hey, look at all the people here. Hey, have you ever been to this event before? How long have you been a member? Do you know anything about this? Or, hey, this line for the food is really long. And so I sort of make comments about the ecosystem in which I'm
Which you're
physically
there.
operating in.
Right.
But as I've gotten used to this, and I quite honestly still have some butterflies in my tummy when I enter
Really?
into a networking mixer. And so the way I like to relax and sort of ease myself into it is I'll look around the room, I'll see if there's anybody who I know, and I'll start talking with them. Or if there's somebody alone, I will talk with them. Because
Right.
just like in dating, nobody wants to be alone at the party
Right.
with nobody talking to them or dancing.
That's
so
true.
if somebody's alone at a networking mixer, I'm going to go up and introduce myself. And now I don't need an opening line. My opening line is, hi, I'm Elena Levine. What's your name? And so as you become more comfortable with introducing yourself and going to these networking mixers and being in networking scenarios like on an airplane or a train, you'll find that you won't need an opening line as much anymore. Your opening line is, hello, I'm my name.
Right.
And just make sure you call yourself your name. If you really are. Not introduce yourself as Elena unless you are an Elena.
And is there a rule? Is there a fast rule to how long you should actually talk to, that person? Because you have a limited amount of time, so you want to make sure that you kind of should you have it in your mind that you need to work the room or
Yes. Yeah, you want to work the room, and key is optimization. So if you have an hour, let's say it's a networking mixer or a reception that is lasting an hour. First of all, you're not going to have time to meet 100 people. So
Right.
don't even put that in your mind. Don't set yourself up to fail.
Right.
The goal would be to meet, let's say, 5 people,
Okay.
maybe even 6 people that you could talk to. And the idea here is that at the mixer itself, you're starting the conversation. You're starting the relationship. You don't have to spend 30 minutes with the person. And in fact, you shouldn't.
Right.
Because you don't want to capitalize on all of their time. They want
Right.
to move around and introduce themselves to
As
other
well.
people too. So what I like to do is generally I'll spend maybe anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, depending on what we're talking about, who the person is, and quite honestly, their enthusiasm for talking to me. Because surprisingly,
Right.
there are some people who don't want to talk. And so that's
Right.
fine too.
Yeah.
If they don't want to talk to you, that's no problem. You can simply just say, and this may go to your next question, is how do you extricate yourself from this situation?
Right.
How do you end? You can say, it was so nice speaking with you, Verdell. Thank you so much. Can I get your business card?
Okay.
I'd love to follow up with you later. Can I make an appointment? Maybe we can continue the conversation next week. And that's the words that I use. I actually say, can we continue the conversation? And then I'm done, and I move on to the next person.
Yeah.
And I move, I sort of walk around the room again, maybe look around, maybe join the food line and start a conversation there, or maybe just find another group and join myself, sort of move myself into the
Into
group
that
and
group.
start talking to somebody there too.
Right. And I think that's so important that you give that tip, because a lot of times you kind of get stuck because you feel comfortable talking with
Yeah.
one individual as opposed
yeah.
to, I've been there, I've done that too, as opposed to moving around the room and really, taking advantage of the opportunity that you have.
Right, and let's say you are at a party and, Ms. God, right, the person in your field who's the God of your field is
Right.
there, of course you want to go talk to her. And of course, Verdell, that would be you in the room, naturally. And so, naturally, everybody's going to want to talk to you.
Right.
And I recognize that you also have a networking goal for being there too.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to spend 30 minutes talking to you, even as much as I want to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. It's
Respect
not
that time.
right. It's not polite. So what I'm going
Right.
to do is introduce myself. I'm going to have a few conversational points that I want to chat with you about, ask you a little bit about what you're doing, and then get your contact information so I can follow up with you later. And that's where the real networking gold occurs, is after you have that first point of contact. The relationship is built on that foundation, but it's everything afterwards is what actually is the relationship itself. And so don't think that just because you go to a networking reception and you meet 5 people and walk out with 5 business cards that you're a networking god and you
Right.
can go home and, I'm done. I finished my networking for the year. Check plus.
Right.
You're not done. It's everything that happens afterwards afterwards that really can make an impact on yours and the other person's careers.
Right. So, that you bring up a good point. So the event is over, you have those business cards, and as I was saying at the top of the show, I encourage my children to do that, network, and my daughter, she's getting business cards and everything like that. What do you do next? What do you have these business cards? What do you do?
Yeah, so don't put them in the corner of
Right.
your desk and use them as a coffee holder or anything like that. Don't use them to make origami. Instead, they're very valuable, and this is what you do. So the next thing, after you meet somebody at an event or a conference or even on the train or the plane, in the next couple of days, send them an email saying, "It was so nice to meet you."
Right.
Tell them the context of where you met them, because they meet a lot of people, and tell them
Yes.
what you talked about. It's so nice meeting you at this party, at this garden. I'm glad we had a chance to talk about X and Y. As you know, I'm a student. I'm really interested in a career in human resources, and I know that was part of your area of expertise. Would it be possible for me to have a 20-minute phone appointment, or if they're local, a coffee appointment with you to learn more about your career path? I'd like to hear what you've done and maybe get some advice as to how I can move my career in that direction. And so, especially for early career professionals, for students, for youngsters, this is a very powerful tool that you have to be able to ask somebody, can I learn how you did what you did? Can I learn how you built your career? And most people like talking about themselves.
Absolutely.
So they'll be thrilled to talk about their favorite subject with somebody who looks up to them.
Yeah.
That you're the mentor in this
The guru,
equation, and
right.
they're the protege. They want to learn from you.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I would recommend, is reaching out to them, emailing them, reminding them what you talked about, asking them for that follow-up appointment. And then there's a number of other steps that you want to do, because you want to keep this relationship going and fluid and dynamic. So the next thing I would do is I'd connect with them on LinkedIn, so that now whenever you have an achievement, or they have an achievement, you're both informed of it. Then in a few months, I'd put in my calendar, within a few months or a few weeks, depending on what we talked about or the nature of the relationship.
Keep it going.
I'll put a reminder as to when I want to follow up with them and email them again. And in the follow-up emails, I'm going to do a number of different things, and even a combination of things. I could introduce new information about myself, like, it was so nice to meet you. Since we last spoke, I won the Nobel Prize.
Right.
Or maybe I introduce new information about them. Since we last spoke, I saw that you won the Nobel Prize.
Right.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Or
exactly.
Here's an article that we talked about on a subject we talked about. Here's an article I think you would find valuable. So it's always trying to add value to the relationship and help them see you as a valuable win-win partner, as opposed to somebody who's trying to get something from them.
Right.
In the early part of the relationship, particularly for youngsters, particularly for teens, yes, you want to learn something. You do want to add something out of the relationship, and that's vital information. But you can always offer to provide something else, and you never know, that first aspect, just the aspect of offering that, is just so gracious that it will really improve the relationship. It will really set a standard for what the other person thinks of you, and you never know, you might actually be able to help them.
That's right.
In terms of networking or providing them insight or information that they don't have.
And you know what? That's interesting, because we were talking about younger, new to a profession, even teens, and them not feeling comfortable about talking to adults. And anytime a young adult wants to speak with me, I'm so open, I'm so excited, because it's that energy that they have, and they're excited about, the opportunities. So I always tell young people, do not be afraid to approach, the adults in the room, because they want to hear from you,
Absolutely not. You're totally right, because the majority of people, not just kids, but adults, are very fearful. They don't want to go up to somebody they haven't met before, or somebody who's a star in their field, and introduce themselves. They're afraid of rejection. They're afraid that they might be seen in a negative light. But as you pointed out, just the act of introducing yourself to that star casts a very positive light on you, because it shows them that you are invested, you're enthusiastic, you're interested, and you have the courage to stand up and say, I want to learn more about this field. And most people don't have that bravery. So just by doing that, you establish yourself as a success, as a winner to that other person, and then they want to they often want to help the other party. Right. I remember I was at a conference a few years ago where I was talking with some people during a break, and it turned out that one of the people I was talking to was a teenager. He was in high school. He was a local high school student who had heard that this optics conference was coming to his city, and he reached out to the conference, he reached out to the professional association, and he said, I'm a high school student. I'm really interested in optics and physics. Would it be possible for me just to volunteer at this conference? I'd love to go. I can't afford to go, but I'd be happy to work the whole time if I can just attend. And the conference people were so thrilled and so impressed that a high school student, first of all, knew what optics was, and second of all, was interested in their conference. They said, absolutely. So in the course of me meeting the student, I was talking to him, and I was so impressed with who he was and what he was doing that when I got up on stage to give my speech, I actually called attention to him. I called him out, and I said, look at this student. He had the bravery to do this, and he's going to get so many opportunities just from doing this.
Right.
And you know what happened, Burdell? The president of that optics association was in the audience when that happened and heard me talk about him, and then went up to him during the next break, introduced herself to him and said, let's talk. I want to talk to you and learn more about what you're interested in. Who knows? That could have led to an internship. It could have led to jobs. It could have led to lots of different things. And that's a hidden opportunity that kid created himself because he had the bravery to ask for something he needed and wanted in his career.
So we are just about out of time. That is an excellent example of how networking, even for teenagers, can work. How can people get in touch with you? Your company is called Quantum Success Solutions. How can individuals get in contact with you, about the services that you can provide for them?
Sure. So one way is, first of all, you can go on my website, and my website is www.alenalevine.com, and that's ALAINALEVINE. So it's alenalevine.com, one word. You can email me, Elena@alenalevine.com, Twitter @ElenaGLevine. I'm on Facebook/Quantum Success Solutions. And I am on LinkedIn. I have a LinkedIn group specifically for people who are interested in improving themselves and moving up in their careers. And that group is called Elena's Alumni, and that's an open group. So anybody who wants to join that group is welcome to. And I only put information that will help people on their careers. I'll never send you a picture of a cat. That's my problem.
Well, Elena, I want to thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Thank you, everyone, for watching AAU Conversations with Verdell Jones. And remember, in the words of Maya Angelou, when you learn, teach, and when you get, give. Thank you for watching.